Hi, I'm Sam Richter, creator of the professional speaker Intel Engine. I'm super excited to share with you what the Intel Engine is, how to use it, and why do you care. Let's start out by talking about what the Intel Engine is not. It's not like a super secret database. What it is, it's a search application that leverages AI and leverages generative AI to find information on speaking opportunities that you could do on your own, but it would normally take hours for you to do on your own, even if you knew how to do it, versus with the engine, it can take seconds. The first area is called ESAM GPT. And what the name says is it's just like ChatGPT in that it will answer questions. Where this is different than, say, ChatGPT, this is designed to have what's called deductive reasoning. So you can ask it a question and then it will launch into coaching mode. It already knows that you are a professional speaker. So it's going to answer its questions in that way. So even when we asked it for marketing statistics, it even said, are you looking to explore this market as a potential topic for speaking engagements? So think of it as a custom version of ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini, Perplexity, any of those, because it will answer those questions knowing that you are a professional speaker. Now, the next part, conferences and planners, this is the really important part. So I'll go through each of these. The first one under Find Conferences is Conference Search Engine. Just now, one of the big failings I see a lot of speakers do here is they type in their speaking topic, or they might say that where they like to speak is at women's conferences. And this will find women's conferences for you, and it will find, let's say your topic is culture, it will find conferences for culture, but what you need to have is a mind shift and say, what industry would my topic be of interest? So instead of typing in culture, I might type in financial services. Because in financial services, there's a lot of different age groups and cultures being brought together at a firm. I'll type in the year, so let's do 2025, and I'm going to search for conferences. Now, what we're looking for are conferences that pay speakers. And so this is where you have to, I say, pass the eyeball test. So I'll click on in-person, and you click on some of these. So the 2005 America Spring Conference, it's in New Orleans in March. So guess what? I already missed the date on this one. I don't care. Why? Because when is their presentation going to be in 2026? It's probably the second week of March, 2026. This one, I'm going to guess that they are paying their speakers. Why? I can tell by the website, I can tell where the hotel is, the location of the conference. So you're going to use this, like I said, it's got to pass the eyeball test. Is this going to be a place where there are speakers that they pay? Now, how I use this is to find the add-on gig. So let's say I know that I'm speaking in Las Vegas in October. Somebody else is already paying my travel. And hey, if I can pick up an extra speech, I can get very creative on my feet. Search for a conference. And so let's say that I'm speaking July 15th, or excuse me, let's say that I'm speaking October 15th. I'll scroll through here. Oh, here's a good one right here. Annual Convention and Expo. Hey, if they're willing to pay for a couple extra nights of hotel, they don't have to pay my travel fees, and I can again get very creative on my fee. So when I do this, full transparency, I don't always do it, but when I know that I've got a week open in my calendar, I'll go through here and try to find the add-on gig, and I'm usually pretty successful in getting an additional speech. Under Find Conferences, we have Speaker Recon. Now this is where I focus most of my time. Why? Because I want to find places that I know pay their speakers. How do I do that? Well, I find speakers who I know get paid. So I like to joke that I'm a big fan of the First Amendment. From a business perspective, I don't really like the free speech part. Of course, I'll give a free speech once in a while to a nonprofit, but most of the time I like to get paid. So what I'll do here is I'll type in a speaker's name. I'll use me as an example. The first thing I'll do is go to speaker info. I'm going to look at their listed fee range to make sure that they're in the same fee as me. And then I'll click on client list. Now, not every speaker keeps their client list online, but I know that I do. And so guess what? Here's my client list. So you can go through and find the decision maker at every one of these. And we know that they pay their speakers because, again, I don't speak for free. So this is a client list, probably about 30% of the presentations that I've given, but it'll keep you busy for a while. Now, what do I mean by keep you busy for a while? Our goal here is 5 a day. This should take you no more than 15 minutes to find 5 opportunities per day. You're going to create a spreadsheet. Column A of the spreadsheet is going to be conference name. Column B is going to be company name. Column C, date of conference. Column D, past speaker, if you can find it. Column E, decision maker. Column F, contact information. Our goal is to fill out 1 row, and it should take, we're looking for 5 rows a day. We're looking for 5 opportunities a day. Why? Because if you do that 48 weeks a year, that's 1,200 qualified speaking opportunities per year. Qualified because we know they pay their speakers. Now, I call those suspects. A suspect is anybody who we know pays speakers that could pay me. I will send out an email to all of those, 5 a day, introducing myself. And when they respond, now I might have to send 5, 6 emails before somebody responds, but when they respond, they become a prospect. Prospects go into my CRM system. So my goal is 15 minutes, 5 a day. Now don't go down a rabbit hole. If it takes you, my number is 2 minutes. If it takes me more than 2 minutes to find information, go on to the next one. But you can see how this is very doable. Because why? Geez, just on me alone, there's what? Oh gosh, I don't know, about 2 months worth of leads here if my goal is 5 a day. So that's, people say to me, oh, this is so hard. No, it's not hard. You're looking for 5 a day. That's our goal. The hard part is communicating with them. The hard part is staying in touch with them on a consistent basis, and we'll give you some tools to do that as well. But the easy part, because you have the speaker intel engine, is finding the leads. Now, if the speaker doesn't have a client list, and by the way, I'm going to keep that open because I want to show you why in just a moment. If the speaker doesn't have a client list, then we'll just do past presentations. Now, is this every place I've spoken at? No, it's the ones that have a public website. Now remember, 70 to 80% of places where you can speak do not have a public website because they're company locations. When I'm speaking at a large company, General Mills, 3M, Toyota, whatever it is, they don't have a website that's promoting my conference. So those are 70 to 80% of the speaking opportunities that are out there. The ones that are showing up here are the ones that are public, usually association type conferences. Now, the good news is, again, 485 of them, there's enough to keep you busy. And you say, but this is from 2018. I don't care, because whatever the date was, so this one right here, May 5th, 2025, I'm speaking at that. Wonderful. Guess when their conference is? In 2026, in 2027. I don't care if I'm not finding the current information. What I care about is finding the decision maker and then reaching out to them. We'll show you in a minute how to find those decision makers. The last one in here is association list and event search. Now, this is an interactive PDF file that I keep pretty current. And as you'll see, there's 2,100 pages in this PDF file. What's a page? A page features about 10 associations. Each one of these associations, you can click right here and it will take you right to their website. Or you can click here, and if the association has a conference page on their website, we can pull that up. So for example, the Association of Advanced Collegiate Schools of Business, click here and go to their website. I can click here and search for conferences. And so it's going to pull up those pages where they have conferences on their website. Now what's nice is this is searchable. So in the search field, let's say I just spoke at a healthcare association. I want to find more healthcare associations. I'll search for healthcare. Along the left-hand side, I can scroll through. We'll take the Iowa Healthcare, search for conferences here. I'll click here, close that out. Iowa Healthcare Association. I can go right to their webpage, or I can search their webpage for conferences. Now again, could you have done this on your own? Sure. This just makes it a lot easier, a lot faster. So that's how we find conferences. Now we have to find event decision makers. So in the conferences and planners, the top level navigation will go to find event decision makers, and we'll look for the corporate planner search engine. We're going to go back to one of my conferences here. We'll take a client list, and I'll choose Global Atlantic. That's a company. I'll copy that, find event decision makers, put in the company name, Global Atlantic. I can choose a seniority, but here I just want to search, and you'll notice that on the results page, we're going to get the types of decision makers who we care about: executive leadership, event executives, training executives, marketing executives, and so on. I'm going to leave this page open because I'm going to show you how to find their contact information in just a moment. We can do the same thing with association meeting planners. Now, if I put the word in the name, so if I put in banker, the word banker has to be part of the association, or in this example, an institute. If I move that over here, that means they're in the banker industry. And so we're going to get a lot more results. Again, you can use your seniority. Now, one way that I cheat a little bit in terms of how do we know that these places pay their speakers? I don't. But if I go up here and I type in the word financial, and I'm going to choose a director level, search for association planners where the word financial is part of the association. We're going to look for event executives. So there's 33. I can guarantee you that this person, Megan, is probably making, let's call it $100,000 a year. If they're paying somebody $100,000 a year to be a director of meetings and events, conferences, they're paying their speakers. They're not hiring somebody who just spoke at Rotary last week for the first time. Again, nothing wrong with speaking at Rotary last week for the first time, but that's not what they're doing. So that's finding conferences and finding event decision makers. Now you're going to say, how do we contact these people? We're going to skip over here under prospecting to contact information. There's two ways we can do it. The first way is we have to install the Lead Leaper contact plugin. You only have to do this one time. Watch this 2-minute video. It will tell you what it is and how to install it. It's a browser plugin like you've installed other browser plugins. And then click the Install Lead Leaper button and install the plugin. Now, this is not my tool, but I partnered with the folks at Lead Leaper. And for this, you get 200 free email credits each month. Now, when you install Lead Leaper, you create a membership or a subscription with Lead Leaper, and I'll show you why that's important. So what is Lead Leaper? Anytime you're on anybody's LinkedIn profile, if you see follow my mouse here, so I'll put it right here, follow it up here, and you see this little froggy right here. That's the Lead Leaper plugin that you've installed. If I click on this, when I'm on somebody's LinkedIn profile, it will go out and try to find their contact information. And it works about 70-75% of the time. It will look for email addresses. It will look for phone numbers. And there's the email address and phone number. Now, the reason you want to create a separate account with Lead Leaper is because anytime you clicked on somebody on their LinkedIn, you can go over here and view selected lists. So here are all the people that I've clicked on using Lead Leaper. Now, this is not part of the Intel engine. This is part of Lead Leaper, but it stores that information for you. So it's not really a CRM system per se, but it's a way to organize that information. Again, our goal, 5 a day. Now, let's say that Lead Leaper didn't work and we want to find Michelle's contact information. I'll copy her name. She works for the American Financial Services Association. I'll go to contact information and I'm going to choose email and phone finder. I'll paste her name in. I'm going to copy the company name, American Financial Services Association. And what it's going to do is it's going to search millions of online business directories, employee directories. It will look for attendee lists, membership directories, and it will try to find a verified email address. If it can't find a verified email address, what it will do is it will use a mathematical equation, look at all sources of information, and give us a best guess. It's using generative AI. That's what generative means. It's oftentimes giving us a best guess. But what's nice here is it will also give you what it believes the percentage chance that it's accurate. So in this time, it didn't really tell us, it didn't say that's verified. So that's probably it. But what I'll do in my email, I'll put that one in the to line, and then I'll put these 3 in the BC line. Why? Because I know that at least one of them will get through. If she responds, I'll be able to tell which one of these emails is the correct one. Maybe 20% of the time you get a verified email address because their email address was found somewhere online in an attendee list or a membership directory. The other times it's going to give you a best guess. Then at the end, it'll ask if we like the person's phone number and address. Same thing, it's going to go look for a verified direct number. If it can't find that, then it will deliver the headquarters number and the address to the organization. We're going to go quickly over to companies and employees. You probably won't need to use this too much, but this is a company search. I can search for companies, associations, schools, and teachers. Let me show you really quick. Now remember, earlier I said that 70 to 80% of opportunities for you to speak, you're not going to find them in Conference Finder because, again, those companies that are posting online event pages, those are usually associations. Most companies are not doing that. So I'll go in and let's say I'll type in manufacturing. I could choose a city, choose a state, choose a type, but what I want is a big company. I know if they have 5,000 to 10,000 employees, again, if I speak on company culture, they're probably having a company conference every year, and I think my message would be great. So I'll find companies that fit my profile. We'll choose the Clorox company. I'll copy that. Again, my goal is 5 a day, right? So here's a bunch of manufacturing companies, all between 5,000 and 10,000 employees. I'm going to grab one, conferences and planners, find decision makers, corporate planner search engine, put in the company name. We'll go to event executives. So these are the people. This is Ashley, I oversee the coordination of corporate meetings and events. I'll click here. I'll click the lead leaper, get her contact information. How long did it take me to find one? 45 seconds? And that was talking slow so I could give a demo. Again, our goal is 5 a day in 15 minutes. So that's company search. Association search, same type of thing. Word in the association name or industry. So I'll type in healthcare. They're in the healthcare industry. And this pulls up the association LinkedIn profile. By the way, this number is never accurate. It's not accurate in Google. I can tell you it's more than one. It's fewer than 1,700. But this pulls up the association LinkedIn pages. Now, what's also nice is we have US tax data. Many associations, if not most, are nonprofit organizations. Where do I use this? Let's say I just spoke at the Minnesota Financial Planning Association. By definition, there's probably 49 others. So I'll do financial planning. I'm going to do US tax data. I want to see if these folks can afford me. What I'm looking for is their budget. So here's the Financial Planning Association of Minnesota. I knocked it out of the park. That's their budget. So I know that, well, Denver can certainly afford me, and the foundation can afford me. Orange County, I'm not so sure, maybe. So you can see what their budgets are and determine if they can afford you. So that's where I will use that. I want to be clear. Most of the time, my business is coming from Speaker Recon. Or if I'm looking for a company gig, company search. But you can use these other tools as well. Schools and teachers, for those of you who do speak in the educational market, you can choose a school. I'll choose Minnetonka, Minnesota, where I live. You can get district details, again, to determine can they afford you? What's their annual budget? So usually scroll down. So yeah, they've got a $180 million budget. They can afford a speaker. I can pull up staff salaries for those of you who are interested how much money your teachers make at your school. It's a nice tool. You can click on any of these names and it will pull up their salary. And then staff directories. So who are the people at the organization that we care about? This will pull up the full staff directory or staff profiles. So we can find like human resources. Typically, marketing is who would hire a speaker at a school. Employee search, just like we look for conferences and planners, I can type in a company name. I'll use 3M because we can spell it. And I can say, okay, find me everybody at 3M that's in HR and recruiting. And this, because we're searching by seniorities, I can say who are the managers, who are the directors, who are the VPs. By the way, this is a great example of the AI in action. All of you are smart enough to know how to go into LinkedIn and type in human resources 3M, and Sandy would show up because she has that in her job title. But Yolanda might not. She doesn't have human resources as part of her job title. Enterprise applications would not. But for some reason, our system believes that they have something to do with human resources. Search by function, the exact same opposite. Type in the company name, and it will give you the most common functions at an organization. Just click on any one of these, and it will pull up the people there. And power search, where you can really search for anything. So I could say, find me every CEO or in Dallas or Houston that went to the University of Minnesota, and they're in the technology industry. So it just allows you to do a pretty laser-focused search and get the results that we care about. Trigger events, you probably won't use this too much. However, if you do coaching and consulting, it can be pretty powerful. So I might go in here and type in manufacturing. What I want to find is what's going on in another person's world where they might need my help. So let's say I'm an expert in operations. Maybe I'll go find companies that have gone through mergers or acquisitions in the manufacturing industry. Again, I'll find these companies, grab the company name. This is where I might use employee search and find the decision makers at that organization. All right, let's go down to speaker tools. Prep and follow-up. These are really cool. Sales and Keynote Intel. My core message is we must be relevant. We really have to have insight on what other people care about. Whether that's in our sales meetings or before we get on stage, people care about themselves. How do we do that? Industry analysis. 5 minutes before I go on stage, I always do this one. So let's say I'm speaking in the EV battery industry. You can get pretty specific. What this is going to do, remember GPT, generative, so it's going to create something new. P, based on the data that I've told it to look at. So here I've given it a few 100,000 credible objective sources that it can look at. And then T is the transformer. How do I want the information delivered? And so what this is going to do is it's going to give us industry information, not like how ChatGPT or even deep research would do it. It's giving it to us in a way that we as speakers need to craft our presentation. So I can click on any of these, make sure that the data is correct, but it's looking for data that we can put in a PowerPoint presentation. Who are the customers' customers? What are the market trends, regulatory environment, growth opportunities, challenges and risks, technology impact, customer demographics, market forecast. And then what I always love is 5 minutes before I go on stage, I'll get a surprising or startling statistic that I might mention as part of my welcome. Also on these, you can type in PDF, please. Now it takes a couple of minutes, but it will create a PDF of this page, which then you can print, you can store in a folder, you can even put into your CRM system. We also have company analysis. Same thing, I can type in a company name. I'll choose 3M because I can type it. Now, sometimes it will come back and say, 3M has more than one location. Which one do you want? So I always put in their headquarters, which is Minnesota. And then, as you can see, it's going to give us a lot more information than, say, a ChatGPT would. It's going to give us an overview. It's going to give us a company history, their unique value proposition. Now, when am I going to do this? 5 minutes before the sales call. You must know something about the other person prior to a sales call, so you can ask really good questions. Now, sometimes it stalls, so you got to wait. But remember, your prospects care about themselves. Talk about what's going on in their world. What are some of their strategic initiatives? How do they differentiate themselves as a company? What is their brand positioning? Personality and voice, visual identity, target demographics, recent developments, key competitors, and it will even create a SWOT analysis for you. So this is also great for those of you who do any coaching and consulting. And then really important, what is the best way to communicate with these folks? Now, this is iterative, so I can have a conversation. Who are their company executives? Give me recent news. What are some of their new product launches? And then when you're done, of course, PDF, please, print it, save it, store it, put it in your CRM system. Now, this one's a little bit scary, personal analysis. So this will, again, go out and search for tens of thousands of data points, and then mathematically, I've programmed it to do predictions and probabilities, which is generative AI, to determine someone's personality profile. I'll choose myself. So it's now going out and searching for tens of thousands of data points on me. Of course, everything from my social media profiles, but also articles, blog posts, articles about my kids, articles about my wife, obituary announcements where I've been mentioned. Then it'll research all of my family, where I donate money. What's my political affiliation? What's my religious affiliation? And then it's going to use probabilities and predictions to tell us what my personality is, what my core values are. So this is really important because, again, people respond differently based on their personalities. It's running a little slow right now, so we'll just kind of let it do its thing. But we learn about the individual, where they donate, their current job, past jobs, awards they've won. And then here is where it's using mathematical algorithms to say, okay, based on what we know about Sam, these would probably be his core values. It nails it, by the way. This is probably his personal mission statement. Yeah, that's pretty darn close. And then, now it's not hacking into any of these personality profiles, but it's saying mathematically, based on everything we know, if Sam were to take Strength Finders, here's what he'd come out as. And most important, how should we communicate with him? What's his DISC profile? What's his Myers-Briggs? What's its Enneagram? What's his emotional intelligence? Colby Index. Again, what we most care about is our communication strategies. And if you are selling to me, these are the key phrases right here. Talk to me with shared goals, engaging stories, and how we can work together to achieve something. Action words and emotional words that would resonate with me. So do this prior to your sales calls. You can also do a company comparison. I won't go through it with you, but you can type in 2 companies and it will compare those companies where they are different and where they might even have partnership opportunities. And a company site search, this searches company websites. So for example, we take a company like 3M. If you go to 3M's company website, you're looking at their marketing brochure. They'll have probably a couple thousand pages on their online marketing brochure. But most companies, especially larger ones, have huge back-end websites, and many of those pages are hidden. So there could be hundreds of thousands of pages. So what this will do is search those hidden pages. So find me the word 3m.com and find me the word meetings. So you're not allowed to look at the entire internet, just find me the word meetings at 3m.com. So here are PDF and documents, the word meetings is in here, and every result is on 3m.com. Spreadsheets, uploads, and all results. Relevant communications, selling to organizations. So the first thing you have to do here is type in the word begin. What this is doing is it's resetting the system. Then it's going to ask us some information about me, ask us some information about our prospect, and then it's going to craft an email, a LinkedIn, a phone, a voicemail, a proposal outline, or even a PowerPoint outline. Give you an example. Now use a sentence here. So Sam Richter from samrichter.com. My prospect is Joe Smith at 3m.com. Please focus on my generative AI keynote and please write me an email. So what the speaker engine is now doing is it's going and learning about me. It's learning about Joe Smith. It's learning about 3M. And it's going to find something in common. It's going to find what do they have going on in their world where my generative AI keynote could be of value. Now, you've all probably used ChatGPT or another tool to write emails. Those emails usually start with, I hope you're doing well. And then the emails usually talk about you. People don't care. They care about themselves. So you'll see how this is written is it's all based on them. How can my keynote help them? It'll ask me to put some information in, some proof. But and am I going to use this verbatim? No, but I'll copy this. And now I've gotten my email 80% of the way there. You can do the same thing when selling to individuals, or general communications would be something similar to finding both of our personalities and then something we have in common. And then it'll ask me, instead of selling them, it might be, hey, I want to network. I want to go out to coffee with someone. And it'll help write that too. News and reports. Make sure you know something about the other person before you walk in the room. So I can search Google News. But Google News oftentimes misses a lot of information. So I'll type in General Mills. Extended News is my own news search engine where we can get general news, press releases, blog posts, social media posts, videos, and podcasts. Find something about the other person before you walk in the room. Meeting news is information about our industry. So if I type in hybrid as an example, it's not searching the entire internet, it's searching meeting publications, conference publications. And then industry reports. Let's say I have somebody in the construction industry. What's going on in their world? I can get trend reports, survey results, industry outlooks. And so these would be third-party, objective, credible reports, usually in a PDF file that you can send. Regional construction industry trends. Now here's the challenge. I don't have time to read all this. Even if I did, I wouldn't understand it. So one of the big important communication strategy I teach is the value-added follow-up. For that, we can use the follow-up GPT. Most people care about themselves. You've heard me say that many times. Now, in our world as speakers, let me back up. Statistically, it usually takes 15 to 20 connection attempts. Connection attempt defined as a phone call, email, or social media post, or a in-person meeting. It usually takes 15 to 20 before someone even says, yeah, send me your brochure. Sure, I'll take a look at your video. Now for speakers, it's probably even more. Yet most speakers give up after 3 attempts. Oh, I emailed them, they didn't answer. Oh, I sent a LinkedIn request, they didn't respond. Or they didn't respond to my voicemail. But it takes 15, 20, 30. Sometimes I have been in touch with people for 7 years. Every 5 or 6 weeks, consistently, they get a message. Now here's the key. 70 to 80% of your messages should be about them, not about you. Because what are you going to do on the 6th message? Ready to hire me? Ready to hire me? Ready to hire me? So 70 to 80% should be about them. How are we going to do that? I'm going to grab this web address of this construction report, copy it. Now I'm going to choose Thought You'd Enjoy. This is going to go to Joe at Acme Construction from Sam. I'm going to paste in the report. I'm going to go up here. Maybe I'll find some statistics. I'm just going to put my cursor in here, do A, Control C to copy everything. Paste that in here. Last time we spoke, his dog wasn't feeling well, so hope your dog is better. Then I can choose a longer or a shorter message. The Intel engine has now gone and read that report, and it's writing an email that's relevant to my client, my prospect. Now, I might go in and change that PS. I might say, hey, I just spoke at the National Construction Conference. Let me know if you'd like to talk about how I did, or let me know if you'd like the event planner's name for a referral. So again, I'll copy this to clipboard. I won't take it verbatim, but it will get me 95, 85% of the way there. I usually choose a shorter message, which is also pretty good for LinkedIn. So again, let the system build the information or build the email for you. So news reports and follow-up. That's a prep and follow-up. And finally, speaker resources. So you might say, okay, remember earlier where we talked about speaker recon? How do you find a name to put in here? One way you could do it is go online and look at different speakers bureaus, go to the National Speakers Association, find names of speakers. You can also go down here and say, okay, now how I use this is when I'm on the road a ton, this is my first week back in my office since November. Sometimes it's lonely out on the road. So if I'm going to be in Dallas, I want to find other speakers or authors. Now here, I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, so I'll click here. So here are some people that I can have dinner with. I'll reach out to Mark Hunter, a good friend, Mike Dangeridge, Steve Klein. What's also nice is I might then use Mark as someone that I put into speaker recon. I can do it by areas of specialty. I can even say, hey, I'm looking for CSPs, so certified speaking professionals, because I know those folks get paid for speaking. So Mark, Elizabeth, Sean, Courtney, these are all people that I can use in speaker recon. Marketing opportunities, you can go in here and find a reporter. So let's say you've got a really good study you just did on the differences in generations. So that's probably be a business reporter. Who are the business reporters in New York? You can find a reporter, and then we can use our Lead Leaper plugin or our contact information finder within the Intel engine to get their email, phone number. One that I love is be a guest author, right? So I speak on sales. I'll find author opportunities. These are people who are saying, hey, please write for my publication. Why do I love this? Because I can take my article, I can write it one time, then I can go into ChatGPT, customize it, change it. I get it 80% of the way there, then go in and change it some more, and I can leverage this piece of content. What's great is once I get published, then those become pieces of content that I can share on my social media. Just be a guest author, find a podcaster. These folks are always looking for good interviews, bloggers, good interviews, even course creators. Maybe you can partner with somebody. And then finally, search tools. You can search for online documents. So again, let's say I want information on sales and I want information on healthcare. So sales within the healthcare industry, find me PDF files where that information might be. Find me Word documents, spreadsheets. So this just finds you online documents with the words that you care about. Annual reports, SEC documents, price sheets, manuals and guides, and recent RFPs. I use manuals and guides when I need to fix my lawnmower or snowblower. And then over here under search tools, we also have search for online lists. So I could put in here CEO, Atlanta, and then choose a list type. So find me membership directories where CEOs in Atlanta are included. I can click on any one of these and it will find that information. Contacts and spreadsheets. So these would all be spreadsheets. Attendee lists, customer lists, chamber lists, business directories, customer, vendors, donor lists. Now, I mentioned earlier there are a lot of features in the Intel engine. What are the areas that we focus on? I'm going to go back to, our goal is 5 leads a day, 48 weeks a year. That's 1,200 qualified leads. So where you ought to be spending your time in here, speaker recon, find where speakers have gotten paid, conference search engine, or association lists and search. So find the add-on gig, and then event decision makers, get the decision maker name, and then get their contact information. That's where you should spend most of your time. If you like speaking at companies, find larger companies that might fit what you could benefit from what you have to talk about. And then when you do get a lead, that you're going to do a prep call, you're going to do a sales call, we're going to go down to prep and follow up, learn about their company. Hey, learn about who you're meeting with, learn about their industry if you're not familiar, and then use these tools as well before you go on stage. Value-added follow-up, stay in touch with your prospects in ways that they care about. Those are the key features, but the number one thing, 5 a day, 1,200 qualified leads per year, 15 minutes per day, easy to do. Now the hard part then is taking everything that you've learned and communicate with those people in ways that are relevant to what they care about. That's the key here. Make sure you're not always talking about yourself. Talk about them.